Okay, last week we are study about how can we overcome this sinful flesh. In that day we study we must overcome our sinful life. In the beginning of this year we listen to that message. God spoke to us to separate from the worldly thoughts, from the worldly sinful life. But we understood in that day that we can't separate from the sinful life through our strength. So we want the strength of God. Without His Spirit, anyone can't overcome sin. We know so many people lived in this world. So many people tried to overcome their sinful lives in their lifetime. But what they are experienced, they want to overcome the sinful life. But anyone in this world couldn't overcome the sin. But there is one way to control our sinful lives. That is, if you are entered to the calling of the God, if you are entered to the plan of the God, then you can control your fleshly thoughts. That's what we are studying in the last time. We know so many people separating with their callings. They are living separately from the plan of God, and then they are trying to overcome sinful lives. In the all religions in this world, we can see this thing. So many leaders of the religions in the world, especially in the Asian religions, so many religious leaders in the previous times, they are trying to overcome their sinful lives. They are practicing so many ways to overcome those sins. But the point is they are separate from the God's presence and also from the God's plan. In the same way, in this Christian life, if we separate from the calling and plan of the God, we can't overcome sin, or we can't control our fleshly desires from our strength. That's why we learn in the last week, we must re-enter to the plan of the God. We must enter to the calling of the God. Then we can control our sin. Then we can control our fleshly desires. Today we are going to go deep in this message, how we can enter to the calling and plan of the God, and then how we can control our fleshly desires. There have few ways to control our flesh. The first one is prayer. Through our prayer times, we can connect with our spirits, and also we can connect with the presence of the God. In that time periods, Spirit of the God start to work on us, and He recreate our inner hearts and our inner thoughts. In our prayer times, Spirit of God start to rebuild our inner nature. And that prayer times we are close, we are going to close to the God. But controlling our sin through our prayers is very limited one. We can't totally control our sinful life or our fleshly desires only through our prayers. That's why we want to enter to the fasting prayers. We are going to start a 3-day fasting prayer since tomorrow morning. You also can participate to that fasting prayer. I'm going to fast and pray in that 3 days. You also can join with us. Why we are going to doing such a fasting prayers? The reason is we can't overcome our flesh from our strength, and also we can't overcome our fleshly desires only through our normal prayer life. That's why so many servants of the God enter to the fasting prayers in their ministry life. When we study the Bible, we can see so many servants of the God, so many prophets, so many priests of the God enter to the fasting prayers before they are starting their ministries or among their ministries. We can see Moses enter to the fasting prayers for 40 days. He separated from his people and he connected with God, and he fast and pray 40 days with God. Why he tried to do that? Why God commanded to Moses, you must come to my presence and you must stay with me 40 days without foods. You must fast and pray. Why God command to fast and prayer to Moses? And also we can see in the Jesus' life, before he entered to the ministries, he entered to a fasting prayer time in 40 days. And also in the book of Esther, we can see the Jewish people, Mordecai and other Jewish people enter to a fasting prayer. And also we can see in the book of Nehemiah. In that book, Nehemiah entered to a fasting prayer. After 3 weeks, God showed a result for that fasting prayer. And also book of Daniel, we can see Daniel fast and prayer. He started a fasting prayer. He maintained that 3 weeks, but in the beginning of that prayer, he didn't receive any result. But after that prayer time, an angel of God came to visit Daniel. Then that angel explained and revealed a future plan of God. In the so many places in the Bible, we can see so many people of God enter to the fasting prayers. Fasting prayer is different than your normal prayer life. In that fasting prayers, we separate from our main desires of the body, that is our hungriness. We feel hungry in the fasting prayers, but we are not giving a chance to fulfill that desire. And we are trying to control that desire, and without food and without any meal, we are going to connect with God. What happens in that times? Our flesh is practicing to control our own desires. Without fasting and prayers, we can't overcome some addictions of our life. And also, Jesus said in one place in the Bible to his disciples, you can't overcome some demons only through your prayers, or only through normal prayer life. You must fast and prayer. This kind of demons you can't destroy them without fasting prayer. That's why we are going to start a fasting prayer in few days. In that time period, Spirit of God help us to recreate our inner nature, and for control our inner nature, and also for overcome our sinful desires in our inner hearts. It is very important to enter to the fasting prayers as a servant of God. That's why I am going to start this fasting prayer. You also can join with me as you can. But I am going to continue this prayer 3 days. We know you are with your jobs and with your other works. Some members can't totally commit to the fasting prayers, but we can, but you can join with fasting prayers as you can, and God will help you to maintain other works also with the prayer times. As a servant of God, why I am decided to going to a fasting prayer? The main reason is I must control my fleshly desires, and I must separate from the worldly sinful life. As a human, I can't control my thoughts through my strength. So I want to connect with God, and Spirit of God, then He will help me to overcome flesh. And the second reason, that's Jesus explained to his disciples, you can't destroy some dark spiritual bonds without a fasting prayer. When I am doing ministries in my ministry areas, I realize that some demons I can destroy their bonds with human. But in some places, only through my prayers, it is very hard to destroy dark black magic bonds from the those people. What's the reason? The reason is the thing that Jesus said to his disciples. Some demons, some spiritual dark bonds, you can't release them through your normal prayers. Without a fasting prayer, you can't attack to some kind of demons, some kind of fallen angels. To attack to some another kind of fallen angels, you must enter to a more connection with God, and you must enter to your the presence of God more powerfully, and you must maintain your spiritual level in a high quality way. Without that fasting prayer, we can't overcome some kind of fallen angels. Those are the reasons for our fasting prayers. Not for our needs, not for our other requests, but for separate from the sinful fleshly life. And the second reason is increase our spiritual strength and power to fight with some kind of fallen angels. There is a third reason, that is, through fasting prayers we can more close to the Spirit of God. Then He will recreate our inner nature. We know we have some addictions, and we know we have some bad characteristics, and we in our inner hearts we have some bad thoughts that we can't control. Those fleshly thoughts only through our prayers. But if we enter to a fasting prayer, the Spirit of God will recreate our character. The Spirit of God will recreate our inner nature. That's why we are going to start a fasting prayer in the beginning of this year. You also can participate with us, and we are going to start that since tomorrow. Okay, that is the message what God explained in the beginning of this year. In the first week we studied we must overcome our sinful life. We must be like God. We must maintain our life in holiness. But it is very hard to do that through our strength, because we must enter to the plan of God, and we must enter to our calling of the God. And then it is not enough to overcome our flesh. It is not enough to fight with some kind of demons. Therefore, we must enter to the fasting prayers in the beginning of this year.